You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thank you so much for joining me today for part 2 of our weekend Cabral House Calls. Looking forward to answering more of our community's questions. Literally coming in from all over the world today, from the UK, from Australia. We've got other parts of Europe. We've got the US. So always exciting to be able to use this thing that we call the internet, right? To actually bridge all of those gaps, to make it feel like not to make it feel like, to actually be able to communicate with people in real time all over the world. I just find it remarkable. I can't think of a better time really now to be alive than right now. And the reason is that we have the technology to be able to really communicate, to be able to get any products, any labs, anything that we need really within the same week. I mean, it's unbelievably remarkable to me. And I know that not everyone is as fortunate as a lot of us who are listening to this podcast right now to have the means and to be able to, even listen to this on a smart device or in your car, whatever it might be. And so that's something to be extremely grateful for, I believe, as well. But beyond that is the connection that I think we can have as a greater community. And the things that I see going on every single day inside of our private Facebook group, which is called cabralsupportgroup.com, is one of those things that I remark on. And then I look at that and I say, look at all these people from all over the world here, all either suffering from or going through different health issues or recovering from them, and providing support for others. Other people that they've never met before in their life, but yet they're willing to, reach that hand out to help other people, to show their support. It's just, it's an amazing thing for me to be able to see. And so I thank you. I thank everyone in this community for being a part of that, because really without you, there would be none of this. So deeply, deeply appreciative for you, and being able to answer these questions on the weekend is the least that I can do. So let's get started. The first question right off the bat is from Dalila. And Dalila is asking, hello, could you kindly tell me whether you deliver to England, UK? I'm very interested in doing your wellness and food sensitivity test. If not, would you be able to recommend anywhere in the south of England they may practice something similar to you? This would be of great help. Love listening to the podcast. Very informative. Thank you for your time. Okay, so we do deliver to the UK. And so all lab tests are able to be shipped out to the UK, to Canada, and to Australia, soon the rest of Europe. But for right now, we don't have that ability. And everything, I believe, except for the stool test. So yes, you can do the food sensitivity test. You can do any of the protocols, anything you see at stephencabral.com/store. And that's it. Pretty simple answer. Let's move on to the next one. Aaron's asking, hi, Stephen. Thanks for your podcast. I've been struggling with gynecomastia caused by low testosterone. Everywhere I look online seems to say that since it is not weight-based, there's not much to do. I also don't want to begin taking testosterone. Thanks. Okay, Aaron, thank you for emailing in for the Ask Cabral. Someone gave you some really, really bad information on this. Low testosterone does not cause gynecomastia. Gynecomastia is typically caused by a higher testosterone to estrogen-based conversion. So taking more testosterone would not shore up this problem and would only contribute to greater gynecomastia, most likely. So for example, a lot of bodybuilders have to have surgery to remove the gynecomastia after taking steroids. And the reason is there's that greater conversion as well. Okay, so let's get your answer now, since we certainly do not want you taking more testosterone, that's for sure. We can boost your own testosterone naturally, but let's figure out why it's converting so high to testosterone. My number one recommendation would be to do this. It would be to run the thyroid adrenal hormone panel, or at least just the adrenal hormone panel. Now, if you can do that, that's the number one test. The number two test would be to run the organic acids test, just to look at overall B vitamins, gut function, mitochondrial stress in the body. I know we talk a lot about it for candida, and we talk a lot about for bacterial overgrowth, but there are other markers as well, such as the stress in the body. Or if you don't want to run that, a little less expensive one would be the hair tissue mineral analysis. Okay, here's the deal though. The most important one is that first one that I just spoke about. And here's what we want to do. First, we need to figure out why the low testosterone. And second, why the higher conversion to estrogen. Some very simple things and simple things to look at specifically would be for toxicity in the body. It's a very, very simple, easy explanation. And the second one is stress. So neither one of these things work well in a male's favor. And that means because testosterone can actually be converted to dihydrotestosterone, which can cause hair loss. It can cause all sorts of other issues with men, prostate, a little bit of gynecomastia. But certainly the androgen or the conversion from testosterone to estrogen is going to be, from what I've seen in clinical practice as well as research, the major thing. It can happen normally to boys sometimes during puberty. That certainly does happen because of the burst in testosterone that men get, but also because of hormonal imbalance, detox-based issues, stress in the body. What else? Heavy metal, potentially. I haven't seen a lot of good research on that, so I can't give you a definitive answer on that. And then obviously inflammation. So that's what I would do. I run the lab test first to figure out what's going on, meaning do you have high cortisol? Is that why? Because that's a simple explanation. If that's the truth and that's the case, well, then we'll be using with you a product called Adrenal Soothe. We'll also most likely be using our deep sleep protocol at night, potentially with a little bit of cortisol manager as well. The other thing that we might do is use a omega-3 as more of like a natural decrease in prostaglandins, which inflammatory prostaglandins can be helped by taking larger doses of EPA-based omega-3s. So we would have you use our omega-3 support, or we would have you use a product called Pure Omega by Integrative Therapeutics, or other ones as well, but it has to be higher in EPA. And these are things that, again, I see in my practice all the time. I don't want to give you the testosterone boosting formula right now, although I believe I explained that yesterday. And the reason is that I'm not sure that that's going to best serve you right now. Best to figure out what's going on with your hormones, all right? Hopefully that helps. And I know that wasn't able to give you maybe a succinct answer, but the truth is that we need a little bit more data. Okay, Tenille is up next, Tenille. Greetings from Hobart, Australia, Dr. Cabral. I really appreciate your podcast, the wisdom you share, and I'm really hoping you can provide some guidance for my own health issues. I've ordered various tests last year and now have a clear picture of what I'm dealing with. I'm seeing a local integrative doctor. Her knowledge is amazing, but she admits, honestly, she's not 100% sure an exact diet plan for myself and my symptoms. Here's a list of the blood tests you had run. I apologize that I'm not able to go through all of these. I'll give the explanation why in a moment. She says, I want to fix my gut. I want to work on my diet. I've spent over $3,000 on testing, hospital visits, supplements, doctor's appointment in the last 4 months. I've also completed the organic acid test, but can't afford to return it to my doctor just yet. As a return visit is so expensive, I imagine the CBO protocol is my next step. But is it possible to purchase a shopping list or a nutrition guide separately? She goes on to list all of her vitamins. All right. So Tenille, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm not able to look through all of your nutritional supplements you're taking and all of the lab tests you had done because we do that on a health coaching consultation. The reason is, just like I explained yesterday, ethically, one, I can't do that over a podcast. That's literally, I don't think that that's the right thing to do because our first appointment is literally just an intake. It is an hour of getting to know you a lot better. And then when we get a lab test in, well, that's a different story. Then we can actually work on that lab test. So my biggest thing is you're working with an integrative doctor right now. They obviously sound pretty good, which is great. So what I'd like you to do is keep working with them. And then if you're not getting the results, well, then you can try a different methodology. However, if you get the organic acids test back and you ran that with your MD, or I should say an integrative doctor, I don't know if they're an MD or ND, then, well, if you come back high on yeast and you come back high on bacterial overgrowth, you can use our CBO protocol. And our CBO protocol comes with a very specific meal plan, and it comes with a shopping list guide, and it walks you through it step by step. So that is the best that I'm going to be able to do for you. And that is because you put all this effort into running all these labs. It would honestly be almost ignorant of me to give you a recommendation when you have all of this data. I would need to see all of that data to make customized bio-individual based instructions. So on the podcast on the weekends, what my goal is to give you some things to think about that you may not have thought about yet. And so for me, I see that you have acid reflux, you've got digestive issues. I'm going to be looking right away on H. pylori in the stomach. I'm going to be looking at candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth. I'm going to be looking at stress, like on a hair tissue mineral analysis, higher levels of calcium, lower levels of magnesium. That's what I would be looking for. And then we would work on obviously rebalancing the gut. You're taking probiotics right now. I wouldn't be using probiotics if you had bacterial overgrowth in your gut. So anyway, that's the best I can do. I've done a lot of podcasts on this. And if you type in leaky gut, you're going to see all of my different recommendations for that as well. And I've also done a lot of shows on nutrition as well. So that's all free information. Hopefully that will help you as well. All right. And then also the Dr. Ball Detox. If you do the Dr. Ball Detox, you're going to get our specific nutrition plan as well. All right. D is up next. D is asking, hi, Dr. Ball. We recently purchased a Therasage personal sauna on your recommendation. We love it. I'm wondering if there's a guide as to how long you should stay in the sauna and also at what temperature. I've Googled it, but there are differing opinions. I remember one of your podcasts said just 20 minutes is beneficial, but we don't even start sweating until after 15 to 20 minutes at 140 degrees. Thank you for any info you may have on the subject. Okay. So you are correct. You know what? I'm going to look this up for you right now. Usually, since we have so many questions, I don't do the specific lookup, but this is a really important one. And that's because you will find differing answers online. And the reason is this whole thing called bioindividuality, right? What's great for you is not necessarily great for another person. But the other interesting thing is this, is that you'll always need a starting point, meaning like all humans, like all adults, the best time for a sauna is usually somewhere between 15 and 45 minutes. Okay, now that's a huge variation, right? Well, why would someone only go in for 15 minutes? Well, if you're a Vata body type, an ectomorph, or you're someone that has difficulty keeping your body cool, or your heart rate starts to really increase and you don't feel well, you want to go in for less time and then just kind of build your way up. All right, the show that you're talking about, 20 minutes is sufficient. That was in episode 524. Everybody check out that show. That was literally groundbreaking research that I revealed on that show. Again, I'm not the one doing the research. I'm the one bringing it to the public. Yes, to the public. That's my job. My job is literally, hopefully, to be the voice for the people who really don't have one to be able to take back control of their health. Like I did last week on, you need to ask your doctor for these specific blood labs because doctors aren't going to tell you what to run. They're honestly not. They don't have the time, or everybody doesn't have the time, right? But they don't take the time to do continuing education when they get out of medical school, and they certainly don't study functional medicine or integrative medicine. That's, it's not a good thing, but at least in the United States, for the most part, it's just if you come in with X, you get prescribed Y for a medication. And then if Y medication doesn't work, then they move you to, Z medication. If Z medication doesn't work, well, they start to stack medications. If that doesn't work, well, then maybe you'll put on biologic drugs to just to weaken your immune system. So then you don't have any immune response. Hey, that'll work. And then all of a sudden you get cancer or you get something else caused by these biologic-based drugs. And then you have to go into surgery, you have chemotherapy. And then, it's crazy. But that is how our medical system works. It's not the doctor's fault. It's what they've been taught. And the truth is that the only way out of this is to look at the underlying root causes. It's the only way. There is no other way. It is the only way. And then you correct those. And as you correct those, disease can't live in a healthy body. It is not possible. So you just need to keep chiseling away and figuring it out. Well, one study, 19 minutes of sauna 4 times or more per week decrease all-cause mortality by 40%, and even more so for cardiovascular disease. Again, there's no drug in the world that could possibly reduce your chance of death by 40%. It's that remarkable. So that doesn't mean that that's the optimal amount. It means that's the minimum amount, 19 minutes per day, or more days than not. So here's the deal. The Therasage sauna allows you to go lower temperature or higher temperature. This is exactly how I use it because I use the same sauna. By the way, for everybody, just go to stevencabral.com/772. I'm going to link up the sauna, the 19 minutes a day. I'm going to link up the 4 different saunas I recommend. The lowest cost one is the one that I'm mentioning now. I have that one personally at my house. And it's super simple. It's only it's the size of a very large dryer. That's about it. It's not that big. And you actually just sit in it, but your head's exposed. So really good for people with high blood pressure because their head's not inside the sauna. And what do I recommend? Well, I recommend 30 to 40 minutes for most people at 150 degrees for this infrared sauna. I also like this sauna because there's no EMF. It's very, very low EMF, okay? Or no EMF, which has been tested too. So here's the deal. How do you know when to get out? When your heart rate starts to increase, when you start to feel uncomfortable, if you get lightheaded, any of those reasons, well, you've had enough that day, and it might vary from day to day. I find the perfect range for me is somewhere between 28 minutes and 36 minutes. I've always found can't really do more than 37 minutes, and I can always do somewhere around the 28-minute mark. All right. So what else can I say to you? I think it's great that you're doing it. Absolutely phenomenal. And that's about it. Yeah, you get the benefits right there. So hopefully that was helpful. I feel like there was one more thing I had to say, But no, that was it. It was just somewhere within that range and you're going to be good to go. All right, Jennifer is up next. Jennifer is asking, hello, Jennifer here, or Jen here. I listen to your podcast during my commute to work on a daily basis and enjoy learning. I'm very interested in health and wellness, and I'm hoping to transition into that arena in the future. I'm going to order a few of your tests that I think would be right for me and see where I am. Currently, I have no major health issues that I'm aware of. I'm 43, 3-year plant-based with minimal food and sugar. I drink occasionally. I get B12 and vitamin D checked and take both supplements. I think hormones might be best for me. Thoughts? I just want to be my best self and improve that any way that I can. Let's see where else. I also want to schedule an appointment with you or your staff for my husband, Matt. Not sure what options are in pricing. He's 40 years old, 3-year plant-based as well. Let's see. We both train for 70.3 triathlons. We believe he has sensitivity to gluten. He has constant sinus mucus stuff going on. He got sinus surgery, didn't help. Tried gluten-free, only helped minutely. And that's it. All right. So Jennifer, sure, we have those answers for you. As a healthy 43-year-old woman, here's the deal. I just want to give you straight off the bat, if you're able to, exactly what I recommend in my practice is called the Big 5. That's it. The Big 5 lab tests are the main 5 things that I want to look at to get someone well, to help them lose weight. They're not the anti-aging ones. The anti-aging ones, well, it does include the omega-3. The anti-aging ones would then be more like the genetics and telomeres, that type of stuff. But that's not really as important. It's not until you get yourself balanced. Once you're balanced, once everything's really copacetic, everything's good, everything's level, then you can check into those other ones. So I think you're right on point. I would absolutely run the thyroid hormone adrenal first. I would do the hair tissue mineral analysis second. And I would do the omega-3 test third. And the reason I say that is everyone over the age of 40 should run an omega-3 test. Everyone. And that's because it's honestly the simplest way that you can decrease your risk for cardiovascular disease and death. Bottom line, simplest way is to balance your omega-6s to omega-3s. Okay, so for you, thyroid hormone adrenal, we'd run the hair tissue mineral analysis, we'd run the omega-3, then the organic acids test, and then whatever test is left after that. That's what I would do. For your husband, a little different. For your husband, no doubt about it, we would run the organic acids test first. We would run the hair tissue mineral analysis second. We would run the food sensitivity test third. We would run the hair tissue mineral analysis fourth and the hormone fifth. In that order, that's what I would do. And the reason is, if you tell me you have sinus issues, if you tell me you have mucus, you're basically telling me that your body is rejecting whatever's going on in that digestive tract. Food-based, candida-based, bacterial-based, there's something in there and you're producing mucus. Why does your body produce mucus? Honestly, super simple, super straightforward. Mucus brings more immune cells, more immunoglobulin to the area of infection, which in this case would be nasal passages, can be candida, fungal-based in the nasal passages or bacterial, and as well as the gut, okay? Throughout the gut, the esophagus. And then also, mucus coats in inflamed tissue, okay? So if you're trying to reduce mucus, really, there's an underlying root cause of that. Forget about the mucus. Sure, you can try to reduce the mucus, but the mucus is there as a protective mechanism, just like a fever is. So what you want to do is figure out why your body's so inflamed that it would also then be producing mucus as a coating to cool and not allow that tissue to actually be destroyed completely. So that's exactly what I would do, and hopefully that was helpful. That was actually a really great question, and how the Ask Cabral should be used, because that's like exactly what I recommend. All right, let's get into one more question. Tyla, T-I-L-A, Tila or Tyla. Hello, Dr. Cabral. I'm trying to make this as short as possible. Since I was a baby, I've had multiple ear infections. I had a tonsillectomy. Got my first food allergies and sensitivity around 5. Always had stomach issues growing up. In my teens, I was sick all the time, stomach issues, sinus infections. Fast forward to college, super busy. Did college faster than others, which meant long days and weekends studying. Brought on more stress. Finally hit my limit. One day out of nowhere, I got serious allergy to peanuts, anaphylactic shock. I ended up going to the hospital for a day. MDs did one good thing. They sent me to do more food allergy testing. I had all sorts of food sensitivities, got some professional help, removed some specific foods, getting more plant-based, not doing sugar. In a couple of years, my stomach issues were back. This year, I went back to following the SED diet. It's hard because I love to eat mostly plant-based. And it seems like my stomach hurts when I eat certain carbs and sugar. Especially, I would really love to feel energized and live life without stomach issues, especially because, like you, I would like to help other people with their health sensitivities in the future. I don't feel super confident because I can't even fix my own issues. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to call you Tyla. I apologize if it's Tila. We'll go with Tyla, though. Or it might not be any of those. It might be an option 3. So I know exactly where you're coming from. And I mean, this is the bottom line. Somewhere along that path, you took antibiotics as a child, probably a good amount of them. Or I believe, let me just see here. I think they came back again, and I left that part out because this was a long question. Again, everyone go to stephencabral.com/772. That's where you get to read all of these long questions as well. So essentially, what I would say is, and just looking at your question one more time, antibiotic use will certainly allow for the overgrowth of yeast. I want to make this really, really important. That when you take an antibiotic, it kills bacteria. Okay, it kills bad bacteria, which is great. It kills bad bacteria, but it also kills good bacteria. And it doesn't just kill the pathogens that you want to kill, like strep or whatever it might be. Okay, it kills the good ones too. So what happens is it does not kill yeast, and it doesn't kill fungus, and it doesn't kill mold. So what happens is when you are killing the bacteria in your gut, you're temporarily allowing for yeast to then take its place. There are openings, and yeast is opportunistic. It just grows like mushrooms, right? So it just grows in the intestines. And when it does that, then it causes issues with digestion, okay? It also causes issues with energy metabolism. It causes issues with mood, all sorts of different things. But what we want to focus on right now is what's going on with your digestion. So it does not allow you then to eat a lot of these certain carbohydrates. And the reason that happens is because yeast or fungus allows or is enabled to grow by eating any foods that are fermentable, okay? So, and I talked about this. So here's the thing, Tyler, what I want you to do is listen to this episode because I think this will help. It's called Why Candida Diets Don't Work. Okay, it was episode 725. I would really like you to check that out. So 725. And it goes into why you were able to knock it down, but you're not able to fully get rid of it once and for all. I went through this myself. And the only reason I know this is because I suffered for years with this, not knowing how to figure it out. All right, so I would knock it down and then I would start to eat carbs again. It would grow right back. Not eating carbs, not eating these things is not the answer. What we need you to do is this. We need you to rebalance the gut microbiome, okay? So my first recommendation is to run an organic acids test. Even if you run 0 other tests, run the organic acids test. And the reason is that you prove to yourself once and for all, here's why I have gut issues. The reason why I love lab testing too is because you can't deny data. If the data is there, it's binary. You either have it or you don't. That's the way it works. I love that because then it also justifies here. Now I want you to do this. So if you come back high with the yeast, high with the candida, high with the SIBO, high with the Clostridium difficile, high with whatever, I would also run a stool test. If you're able to do a number 2, I would do a stool test. So with the stool test, sorry, I just realized how I said that and no pun intended, that was really bad. But what I want you to do is actually look then for maybe parasites and maybe H. pylori and any of those things. So what I want you to do is actually, well, definitely the organic acids test. And again, only if you can afford it will you do the stool test. Okay, here's the deal though. When you see that you have overgrowth, you will then complete the Candida and Bacterial Overgrowth Protocol. You will get our food-based sensitivity guide and you'll get all the supplements, you'll get everything that goes along with it. You'll be able to not only knock it down, but you're going to be able to rebalance your gut microbiome. Then when you do that, you're able to then add back in the carbs that you would love to eat, and they no longer cause the bloating. They no longer cause the gas. And we do this literally every single day in my practice. I mean, 2/3 of our practice is digestive-based because most people are understanding that any issue that you have going on right now is related usually in some way to either malabsorption, overgrowth in the gut, poor digestive tract function, lower bowel motility. So there's so many issues. Autoimmune-based goes back to leaky gut. And that's what we work on. We have to center on that. Now, if that's good, well, then you're lucky. That's great. And then we just move on to, now what is it, with you? Because you could have other things. You could have the sluggish bowel motility, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I would do. I do hope that helps. Really great question. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for submitting your questions. Really appreciate it. These questions are taking about 4 weeks or so, 5 weeks to get back to you. If you ever need really near same-day answers, go to CabralSupportGroup.com. It's a free Facebook group. We would love you to join the community. You don't have to ask questions. You can actually just be a part of the community. We post a new recipe every week by our resident health coach, Julia Hayes. Every Wednesday, really amazing. We have question and answers in there. Just great group of people. If you're a positive person and you want to share what you might need help on, or share a success story, or just ask a question, we're here to help. Thank you so much. I hope you had an amazing weekend, and be sure to tune in tomorrow for our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Take care. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp parts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stephencabral.com/resources.